All right, guys. Thank you for joining me on another episode. I am Mr. Sim. Today we're going to finish our preseason rankings. Today we just got our top 10 teams. Uh, Not much more else to say, man. Let's jump right in and get to it. All right, guys. So before we look at the actual teams, if we look at number one, we see that they aren't the number one team. They really are prestige-wise, like number eight. Average overall, way below that. So they are they're our preseason number one. I understand preseason don't mean too much, but that's just where we start. We got to start somewhere. So we'll see where they end up at the end of the year, though. So at number 10, we got the Baylor Bears with the 86 prestige and the 18th ranked recruiting class. They did hire a 3.5-star head coach, James Danner, one of the disappointing hires in all of college football. But they did not sign him beyond this season, so that was a good thing. So we'll see if one of these other 4 or 5-star coaches will get a call from Baylor this offseason. I'm sure a lot of teams, a lot of coaches will want to coach this team. All right. So when we look at the Bears roster, Eric Adamson is the top defensive player, a senior cornerback, along with senior strong safety Bradley Wade joining him on that side of the ball. We got a redshirt freshman, Chris Henson at receiver, a fifth-year senior at receiver, Charles Johnson. Also, they've got a third receiver, Douglas D. Berry, also a senior, another top-rated player on the team, and their quarterback is listed here, senior Paul Kilgore, probably going to win that starting job. All right, guys. So at number 9, we got the Cincinnati Bearcats, uh, the 85 level prestige team, 28th ranked recruiting class. Uh, they did get a 5-star head coach, Ralph Hauser. He did sign a contract only for this season, so this offseason we'll see what he wants to do. A candidate for that Baylor job. Baylor gets automatic bids to the playoff Pac-12. The American does not. So they do get an at large bid. Um, so we have 5 total 5-star head coaches in when we ranked last video 25 to 11. Uh, Ralph Hauser makes number 6. So we'll see what he does this offseason. If he stays here, if he maybe moves to a bigger conference. All right. So when we look at Cincinnati's roster, senior quarterback Charles Coffin will lead this team and will have a ton of weapons at receiver. Sophomore Ronald Evans should be receiver number one. They got George Covert, Lamel Lusk, Kenneth Mendez, and J.C. Best, but they're all seniors. They got a tight end, Jesse Tillman. He's a senior, and 2 running backs. Junior James Workman and sophomore Anthony Johnson. This offense could be dynamic. Uh, but on the defensive side of the ball, they're probably not going to be as good. They do have strong safety Jeffrey Alonzo. He's going to lead the defense as a senior, but they will have to replace a lot of talent. A lot of these guys are going to graduate or go to the league. So another thing for Ralph Hauser to think about if he's going to try to rebuild this team with all this senior talent leaving, or will he move to something a little bigger or smaller, maybe? Who knows? All right, moving right along to our number 18, the Clemson Tigers, our first 90 prestige team. They have a 15th ranked recruiting class. They also have a head coach hired for just this season, Rich Tice. He will be that guy. He's a 4-star head coach, a bit on the older side. He's 65 years old, but he has 30 years of coaching experience. I think the question is going to be how much longer does he want to coach? Is retirement around the corner? Maybe Ralph Hauser opts to take or try to take this job instead of the Baylor job or staying at Cincinnati. Uh, we're just gonna have to wait it out. And with having our first 90 prestige team, we have our first 99 overall player, senior quarterback Scott Melendez. This will be his only year of eligibility, but we will get to see him on the next level play out his career. Uh, on defense, we got John Winkler, senior quarterback. He's going to be the top player on that side of the ball. Fellow linebacker, senior Payne Dixon, and defensive end William Scoffins. He's also a senior. They're gonna be impactful uh, this college year and whenever they get drafted to whatever team they get drafted to. These are some names to definitely look out for. All right. And at number 7, we got the Georgia Bulldogs. They are a 92 prestige team, and they were ranked number 1 recruiting class in the nation. Again, that's 5 recruiting cycles all put together in one, number 1 in the nation. Being that they are ranked number 7, I think we all know they're slotted lower than they should be. But during the season, the top 25 is going to shake out. It's going to even out as the games get played. um, if we look at their staff, they were able to sign Thad Bowden, a 4.5-star head coach, to lead the program at least for this season and next. Hopefully, they do extend. If not, they improve their coaching. Uh, but hopefully, they don't hire someone like James Danner, like Baylor did. When we look at the Bulldogs offense, this team has senior running back Anthony Clark and freshman running back Lucas Veal at the top of their team, along with Michael Mattingly, a sophomore wide receiver. They have 2 junior wide receivers, Dirk Duong and Carlos Walters, and sophomore quarterback Mark Silverman under center. They they got a pretty good offensive core, underclassmen wise to build. For this season, next season, and the next couple. So Dale Crowley, sophomore strong safety, will be the leader on the defensive side of the ball for his first and only college football season. And at number 6, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Like Georgia and Clemson, a 90 prestige team, rated 92. Uh, they were able to get the number 5 ranked recruiting class uh, over the last couple years. Again, multiple classes put together, but unlike Georgia and Clemson, they have themselves a 5-star head coach in Larry Fusco. He was able to sign a 2-year deal, uh, but offensive coordinator Wayne Shipley may be in talks with the team this offseason for a contract extension. If I were him, I would want to stay here for sure. And when we look at Ohio State's roster, they've got 2 seniors, running back Modesto Renner and William Vegas at strong safety. Both of them are rated at 97. They've got their projected starter quarterback, uh, junior Nestor Smith. Uh, Very intelligent, highly intelligent quarterback, but a bit undersized at 5'11". But we'll see what he can do. He is a junior, so we'll see if he decides to stay another year or go to the pros. All right, guys, we are in our top 5 preseason ranked teams. We got Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a 90 prestige team, the 6th ranked recruiting group, a respectable 4-star head coach in Juan Caban. He'll be the head coach for at least this season and next. But being an independent team, they also are playing for one of the 3 at-large spots in our 18 playoff, like Cincinnati. And when we look at Notre Dame's roster, we see another highly rated quarterback, senior Scott Lash, rated at 98. When we compare him to Clemson's 99 rated Scott Melendez is 6'1", Lash is 6'4". He's a bit more prototypical size. Both of them have really good like attributes. But we'll see how everything plays out in our universe. Hopefully, no injuries. This could be a number 1, number 2 draft pick prospect. This could be like Andrew Luck and RG3. Hopefully, is nothing like Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. All right. So at number four, we got the LSU Tigers. They're a 90 prestige team. They got the eighth ranked recruiting class. Brian Jensen was hired for their head coaching job. He's rated a four-star coach, and he signed for the next 3 seasons. So senior strong safety Harry Cook, rated a 97, will lead this team and the defense. Uh, he he may split some time with John Cerda. His endurance isn't the highest. Uh, Cerda is a senior at the strong safety position. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Aaron Gavin is a 19-year-old sophomore running back. He's the best player on the offense. In that same class, we got another sophomore tight end, Michael Woods. Both of them will likely get the start. This team is going to lose 3 senior wide receivers at the end of the year: Max Elam, McKinley Ball, and Abraham Lyon. Uh, if we look at their quarterback situation, though, Coach Jensen's going to have a tough time choosing between these guys. They've got a Terry Carmona, a junior quarterback, and Cody Hinkey, a senior quarterback, but their games are completely opposite from each other. One has a strong arm, not as accurate, but slow. The other's arm is not as strong, but more accurate and fast, or at least faster than the other. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see who they start and who they play. Definitely being highly rated, it's definitely going to matter. All right. Our third ranked team are the Oklahoma Sooners, a 91 prestige team, 10th ranked recruiting class. Gregory Gallardo will be this team's head coach. He signed a 2-year deal. He's a four-star head coach. Him and his three-star coordinators should all be returning to coach next season as well. And leading the Sooners is going to be a trio of skill players: senior tight end Ezekiel Albers, rated a 97, junior running back William Wilson, and senior receiver Cody Greenwood, also a 94, rated overall player. Richard Logue is the top player on defense at defensive end. And at the quarterback position, they have Drew Morgan, a junior. Not the best arm strength, but he does have another year of eligibility if he chooses so to develop more. Where they also have another quarterback, Edward Anton, who's a senior, but still doesn't have as strong of an arm as Morgan. So I don't see him beating him out for the start. Uh, Unsure of his prospect going forward in the pros. We're going to take a look at that as well. And at number two, don't know if you were able to guess it or not, but it is Alabama. Surprisingly, they are not number one, but everything is computer generated. They do have a 93 prestige, and they are the second ranked recruiting class behind Georgia. Danny Brown is their head coach, a 4.5-star hire. He's signed for 3 years. Whole staff should be coming back. All right. So looking at Bama's roster, they have a senior running back at the top, William Thiel, 97 rated. They actually have two strong safeties, Brian Cohen, a 97 rated senior, and Orlando Elmore, a 95 rated junior. It'll be interesting to see if Elmore gets any time, uh, or even if he earns that backup spot, because they have another strong safety, Edward Dickerson, who's trying to get some playing time as well. So they got 3 strong safeties. One of them is rated a 97. So pick who you like. When we look at their quarterback, sophomore Allen Ahern, he's a 6'3" guy, strong arm, very smart, mobile, a bright future for this young man. And our number one team is the Michigan Wolverines. Uh, Even looking through all the teams, I'm not sure if you would have guessed it. We do have a slight drop in prestige at 88. They are ranked 19th in the recruiting rankings, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to live up to this expectation. If we look at their staffing hires, Gene Anderson, he was able to sign a 5-year deal, one of the longest deals, I believe, of all the coaches. Uh, but he's only a 3.5 rated coach, 3.5 star rated coach. Baylor also had a 3.5 star rated coach, but he only got signed for this one season. They can replace him with somebody more fitting of that job in season two, uh, versus Michigan, who's committed to Anderson for the next couple seasons. Uh, a disappointing hire, to say the least, possibly the most disappointing hire in the nation. So this team's top player is Simon Baker, a senior strong safety, leading this team at a 98 rated overall, on par with the two Scotts at quarterback, Scott Melendez, who was the 99, Scott Lash, who was the 98. On offense, they got a running back, David Hedrick, who's a senior, will have to be that guy this year. I say that because senior quarterback John Evans and senior William D'Angelo, they'll be battling it out for the starting job, but both guys will struggle when it comes to throwing the deep ball with a 74 and a 70 arm strength. So I think they're going to be relying on their running game quite a bit this year. All right, and there we have it, guys. One more step closer to the start of the season. We'll take one more look at the top 25 teams before we go. We see teams 2 through 8 are the 90 prestige teams. Uh, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State look like the best teams. Alabama with the 93 is the highest prestige team. Georgia and Ohio State were 92s. Georgia had the number one recruiting class. Bama had number two. OSU had number five. Of the three, Ohio State has the only 5-star head coach. Uh, OSU is in the Big Ten. Georgia and Bama are in the SEC, so they're going to have to play each other every year. I don't see many situations where both of them in the same season will make it into the playoffs. And then you throw in number 4 ranked LSU also in the SEC, and things are just going to be really interesting. Before we head out, we've got an 18 playoff. Again, we've got the Power Five conferences getting an automatic bid, and then just the next best teams will get the at large, the 3 at large bids. So it'll be an interesting season. These teams, like I said, everything's kind of splitting hairs. They're all pretty even on paper, even though some teams are technically better than others. All right, so that brings us to the end of our preseason rankings. We did 131 all the way to number one. It took a while, but we made it. Uh, so Michigan was not the anticipated number one uh, in this first preseason ranking. That really doesn't matter much, but I thought it was really fitting for them to get ranked number one when I generated everything, because the guys that created the game, Draft Day Sports, I believe they are big Michigan fans. So I thought it was really fitting that Michigan was ranked number one, even though they're not the best team. So shout out to those guys over at Draft Day Sports. If you don't have the game, go pick up the game. It's on Steam, but you can pick it up from their website. Uh, and I believe everything's on sale right now. It's Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you guys. I hope you had a good holiday, and we'll see you on the next one.